Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bull Take Scouting Podcast. Today, we're joined by former Samford wide receiver and return specialist and 2022 NFL draft prospect, Montrell Washington. How you doing today, Montrell?
Good. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. We'll kick this off. When did you start playing football, and what made you fall in love with the game?
So I started playing football at, I believe, 4 years old, but really didn't understand it. Just was out there running around. But I would say I guess I started to kind of understand it middle school, going kind of into high school, really understanding it around that time.
Was it tackle football at 4 or flag?
Oh, it was always tackle. Never played flag.
Wow.
Yeah, sir. Never
So
played.
you're one of those little dudes running around with a massive helmet.
Exactly. Yeah, big helmet, big pads,
Yeah.
game pants going all the way to my ankles. Like, yeah, that was for sure.
It's always funny to hear those stories. Now,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I already know the answer here, but do you have a favorite game in your football career so far?
Favorite game? Yeah, definitely. Probably our past like Florida game. That was my
Yeah.
favorite game. I'm definitely like I was like a Florida fan growing up, so to play there,
Wow.
it was cool for sure.
And you ended up having over 300 all-purpose yards that game, 3 touchdowns, absolutely lit it up. And just doing some research for this interview, I actually read somewhere, and I hadn't known this before, that you were playing through broken ribs that game. Was that correct?
Yeah, I was.
I mean, that's crazy to have that kind of performance against that big of a team with
Yeah,
with an injury like that.
yeah, it was all right. I got to wear like the big QB flap jacket, so it was all right. Got made fun of by my teammates a little bit, but other than that, it was cool.
How was it? How was it breathing? I mean, you're probably breathing pretty heavy returning those kickoffs, especially the one you return for a touchdown. I haven't broken ribs myself, but I've heard it can hurt a lot when you take a breath in. Was that a problem for you?
uh, to be honest with you, I wasn't like really thinking about the ribs
Yeah.
at all. Like we was in Florida, like this, you get one shot at games like this. So like I was just thinking about just making plays and doing what I could for the team at the time. To be honest with you, but I mean, yeah, it was a little hard to breathe for sure sometimes. But I mean, for the most part, I blocked it out and was trying to focus on playing.
Yeah, I mean that's an extremely impressive game with or without broken ribs. But I mean,
Thank you,
with
thank
broken
you.
ribs, that's crazy. Let's go back to your recruiting process a little bit. You were extremely productive, and you were the player of your region in high school. Why do you think you were so lowly recruited?
Probably I wasn't a guy that liked school a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. So probably with me having a like a low GPA, maybe was well not maybe I think was definitely the reason for me being recruited low. But other than that, I mean, it was good. I went to Samford D1, so I not complaining at all.
Yeah, and would you say that being overlooked in the recruiting process has helped you put a chip on your shoulder?
uh, yes, and kind of no. I always had that chip because like I always been a little guy, to be honest with you. So like it was just something that I don't know. I've always had, and just I mean, yeah, being under recruited definitely made me a little angry, but I mean, it was all right. It just added to the fire, I guess, for sure.
Yeah, and so you ended up at Samford, and your first couple seasons, you really didn't make too much of an impact. 19
Hmm.
catches your first year, 14 catches your second season, but by your last year in 2021, you had an 813-yard season, 9 touchdowns in 2021. You were first team all conference as a return specialist and as a wide receiver. So what went into having such a big progression over your few years at Samford?
Just learning, to be honest with you. Getting to know everything, getting to know like what's going on, the pace of the game there. Because at Sanford, I mean, we throw the ball, we trying to throw it 100 times and do it as fast as possible. So just knowing, what to do and just making plays when your number's called was the biggest thing. I had to wait behind Kelvin McKnight, learned a lot from him. Chris Shelling, got to learn from Andrew Ayers. Just different guys that was there before me. And around that time, freshman and sophomore year, just was a time for me to really learn and just take in, wait your turn, and just take it all in from those guys. And junior season came around and was able to get the starting position once those guys left, and it was kind of up from there.
Yeah, man, Definitely makes a lot of sense. So it's pretty common for us to hear prospects citing guys that were played their position in previous years, really helping them come along. And I think we can dive into your draft profile now. You show really good quickness, suddenness, ball tracking, and hands out of the slot. And what really makes you a valuable prospect in terms of teams wanting to spend a draft pick on you is your return ability. And that really makes me curious because, a lot of fans, they see the kick returns, but they don't really understand how that aspect of the game works too much. So can you take us through your side of being a return specialist from your development over the years to how you navigate the chaos of the return game on the field?
Yeah, for sure. So with that, again, just learning from the guys that was in front of you, to be honest with you, like I said, Andrew Harris, he was a return guy. I actually got to learn from him all the way from high school because we actually went to the same high school. So he taught me some things at return. So learning from him, being able to track the ball, catch the ball. Kelvin McKnight, that was there. He was like one of the best returners I've ever seen in my life. When I first got to Samford, he was the starting punt returner actually. So just learning from him and getting things from him and just understanding the way that he's seen it out there, and I wanted to do what he was doing, to be honest with you. So I always try to stay close to those guys and mimic, if not mimic, just get all the knowledge from them and just put it to my game. And that kind of helped me because, once I got everything that I needed from them on tracking the ball, where to be, do this here, do this there. It helped me be, I guess, a better return man and kind of, score the touchdowns and be able to get the accolades that I got going into my junior season after they left and just things like that. So just, learning and taking it and putting in my own game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, from what you've told us so far, it seems like, really sitting in for 2 years and learning from all these guys that were ahead of you was extremely, extremely beneficial. And you don't always see that from football players. A lot of times, you see a guy sit their first year and they want to transfer because they want to start right away. But maybe that's not always the best thing to do. Obviously, you're telling us that right now. Sitting and learning for 2 years clearly helped you a ton.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100% for sure.
And we've talked about some of your strengths. All good players know they have weaknesses as well, though. So what are the specific areas of your game that you're working on leading up to the NFL draft?
Definitely working on route running, kind of understanding different coverages and things like that. To be honest with you, I just play football. Like a lot of guys, is able to read coverages like Cooper Kupp, guys like that. They can tell you everything about a defense. Me, I get to play. Once I get to play, you got to stop me. And I just like the man. I don't know. I make the play happen. So I would definitely have to say, just being able to break down different defenses and understand and able to translate that to coaches in terms that they, understand. And my route running as well. So those two things for sure.
And I think those are definitely good answers there. And so now we are just 23 days away from night one of the draft. And we talked about how you were lightly recruited, took the route of joining an FCS program, and you do play a position where your height is usually deemed as too short. So how does it feel after all these years of hard work, of learning your craft, and of being overlooked by some that you're on the cusp of potentially getting a shot at making your NFL dream a reality?
It's just cool, to be honest with you. Not saying all the hard work is paying off yet, because I'm nowhere near done, nowhere near met the goals that I want to meet. But definitely, it's good to see that I'm going in the right direction, if that makes sense, with everything and how everything's starting to play out. So I was just enjoying it, and that's kind of what a lot of scouts have been saying as well. Coaches just enjoy this process, and that's kind of all I'm doing. I'm just taking it all in and just enjoying everything about it, and hopefully things work out in my favor when it's time.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And so what are these next 23 days going to look like for you in terms of final preparations for draft weekend?
Just going to flying out to different teams, having a few workouts here and there, and from there, we got, I think, a week, maybe a week and a half, and then drafts there. So just finishing out these last few workouts and visits that I have planned, and like I said before, hopefully, things working in my favor, and things just go good.
Yeah, and we haven't had a prospect on this close to the draft before for interviews. So can you just take some of our listeners through a little bit what these workouts are like for for specific teams instead of just the pro day workouts and stuff like
Okay.
that?
Can you hear me? I think it froze.
Yeah,
We can hear you.
I think we lost Montrell here, so hopefully just a quick little technical glitch and he'll be back.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Perfect. I'm sorry. Yeah, it kind of like went out for a minute, but
No
yeah.
problem.
So this process right now, just different teams. Yeah, I mean, you would go through a workout that whatever they have. I mean, return specialized guests for me. I mean, I'm definitely catching punts, doing things like that. May run a few routes, of course. Then you would maybe go like to the whiteboard, go over plays, not go over plays, but just go through your film and talk through it, things like that, just so they can understand your football IQ. I'm guessing, and things like that. But yeah, and then just not sure yet how the visit will be when I fly out to where I'm going, but I, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to that one as well. So I can't really tell you on that one how things like that go, but I'm sure it'll be great. Maybe like physicals, meet with coaches, things like that. Watch film and kind of same thing you would do when if teams would come to you, break down your film, and, walk through it. Well, not walk through, but talk through it and things like that. So, but yeah, this is it's a cool process and all, and learning a lot, to be honest, and just day by day.
Yeah, I mean, sounds really, really exciting. And then, do you have any plans for draft weekend?
Nah, not really plans, to be honest with you. I don't do too much, so I'm just gonna sit back, chill with fam, and just watch it, and see how things go. It'll be cool to see some of my guys that I train with get drafted, of course, and see guys that you play with get drafted. I mean, I'm a fan of everybody, so that's the thing with me. So I like seeing everybody win. So just to see first rounders, every round, I can't wait. I'm happy for everybody.
Yeah,
So,
can you give us some names of guys that you're training with?
I'm sorry.
Can you give us some names of guys that you're training with?
So yeah, actually, it was down when I was down in Florida in X3 Performance in Fort Myers. I was training with DeMarcus Mitchell, edge from Purdue, Justin Hall, wide receiver from Ball State, Bryce, the safety from Ball State, number 5. We had my guy Dennis, guys from Oregon State, Trey. Who else we had? It was guys I'm forgetting names. Guys from Illinois. We actually had a Florida D lineman, offensive lineman there. What other schools? Michigan State. I mean, you name it. Just it was good work all around, and also for me to come from FCS to be around big guys like that as well. Big name schools. It was. It was cool. I liked it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I said, I'm a fan of everybody. So for me, it was like I'm around all big name school guys. Like, hey, I'm a fan. Like, I love it. So it was great.
Yeah, I mean, you showed out on that field against those Florida dudes. So yeah, I mean, definitely in the right place among them. And now we're gonna turn into our last few questions that we like to ask every prospect. Pretty much a fun way to wrap up the interview. First one is, do you have an NFL role model or a couple NFL players that you've looked to emulate as you head into the league?
For sure. Of course, Tyreek Hill, short guy, fast guy. You know what I mean? He just all around playmaker. Definitely try to imitate him and everything he does. And a former player, Devin Hester, in the return game. You kick it to him, he run it back. So for me, I kind of took that, and you kick it to me. I mean, I'm taking it back for sure. So those two guys for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you have similar skill sets to both of those guys with your quickness and your movement ability. So yeah, Devin Hester, I think a really interesting comp for you, especially in the return game. Another fun question: who's the best player that you've played against in your college career?
Best player I played against in my college career. I mean, it definitely has to be the guys from Florida for sure. DB to Elam. Elam, I believe that's his name, number 5. Yeah, I mean, you just seen all big name guys, Trey Dean out there. You seen the linebackers. I mean, everybody on Florida was huge. So I'm saying, you see these guys, and you're like, okay, this SEC football. So yeah, for sure. Florida would probably definitely be, not even probably, they are the hardest guys I played against for sure.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving's a pretty impressive
he
quarterback.
legit. He's legit for sure.
He's going to be going early. And so our last question is, we like to end off on this inspirational note. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received from a coach or teammate or anyone really in your football journey?
Yeah, for sure. So probably my head coach. He got this saying, just control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And I just took that controlling what I control. If that means on the field doing your job, I mean, my job is to catch returns, control what I control. I can control catching it. I can control scoring. That means not getting tackled. So, things like that, just control what you can control. And, and you can put that in school as well with grades and things like that. Doing your schoolwork, control that. And, good things will work, at the end of the day, if you control what you can control. So taking that away from Coach Hatch would definitely be what I learned from him for sure. And I live by that every day, kind of, to be honest with you. So that was the best advice.
Yeah, I mean, that's really great advice, not just for football, but, in the world, like you said.
Seriously, yeah, in life.
Doing your schoolwork, but, obviously not everything's in your control. So, you got to take things as they come. And, what you control is how you respond to, maybe not the best events. Obviously, you won't be able to control where you go in the NFL draft or sign with a team, but you can control your preparation now, and then you can control, how you prepare once you're on one of those teams.
Exactly. Yep.
So that wraps up our interview. We really appreciate you coming on. Good luck with these next, last few days of training, and obviously with getting drafted or signing with a team and stuff like that. So we really appreciate it. Good luck, and we look forward to hearing your name in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be rooting for you. See you, man.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
You too.